Thanks for listening to Fluff and Crunch, where we talk about the connection and sometimes disconnect between system, setting, and story in tabletop RPGs. Thanks as always for listening to Fluff and Crunch. In today's episode, we work through Act 1 of our Star Trek Adventures Captain's Log game. So we've done a couple of things. 2 episodes ago, we created characters and worked through a couple of things. Last episode, we created the ship and we laid the foundations for our co-op campaign. You've got those written down, those roles. I'm looking at page 255 in the rule book, the generating mission types. So let's go over the results so that you and I are both clear and everyone listening is clear as to what's the foundation of this, of the story. And then we can summarize who our characters are.
I'm just going to jump back to the getting started things we can show we're doing right. So step 1 of getting started says create your character and ship, which we did.
Right. And you are Lieutenant Commander
Krull.
Lieutenant Commander Krull, who is a
Acacian Chiefs of Security.
Right.
So not weapons, just security.
Right. Especially in terms of like personnel level stuff. Excellent.
And you have?
I have Lieutenant Commander Guitari, who is an Efrosian chief engineer. And we are on board the USS Tracy, NCC 9344. It is an Oberth-class vessel and has been repurposed as a rescue operations vessel that is attached to a task force that is engaged in deep space exploration.
Yep.
You mentioned that it is a USS Tracy, and so we are quietly interstellar rescue. I tried my hand. I hate AI art, and I hate farting around with AI art because it never turns out the way I want it to. But I tried to I tried to ask for a Vulcan dressed like a Thunderbird from the television show, so that we could have our captain, who is a Vulcan.
You should post up what it looked like.
It didn't look even remotely like, with like 12 fingers and like 8 knuckles per finger. It didn't look even remotely like a Vulcan, and while it was in a uniform, it didn't even remotely resemble a Thunderbird's uniform. So whatever, screw AI art. Okay.
So step 2 says select your mission type, for which we rolled last time, deep space exploration.
Right.
And then generate incident, theme, advantages, and complications. We didn't have it. Anyway, we had alien explorers were there before.
Yes.
And we just went through rolling, and we had rescue, ancient ruin, and the complication was inferior equipment, which we decided meant that this was more about the people we're being sent to rescue have inferior equipment.
Right. There's some dimension of faulty or inferior equipment that is related to wherever this incident takes place on an uninhabited planet where there are.
We jumped ahead now. So yes, that's our encounter was uninhabited planet, and the second part of that was primordial planet full of enormous predators.
Yes.
And that was everything we rolled up to the point of that. So then the next thing says, stage 6, write your opening captain's log. So I think I'm going to make this up as we go.
Do it.
Star date 2351.
Yabba.
Can't remember how they go.
And we're 2351, correct?
Yes, we're 2351. I have that written on my sheet. So the USS Tracy has been tasked with finding a lost expedition that has been sent to planet X578B.
Beta Inari 7.
Yeah, whatever.
Write that down. I'll write it down. No, you know what? I'll tell you what. Since this is co-op, I will be the random note taker. All right, so let me write that down.
Where there has been a distress call sent from a group of explorers that they had found an ancient ruin, but their equipment has failed them, and then there was a sound in the background of the distress call of noise, and then it cut out. So the USS Tracy has been tasked with going to the planet and rescuing said explorers. That's our captain's log. So our captain is, back of my sheet, Strack. Oh, it was just Captain Strack. I was about to say his name is Strack Vulcan, and then realized
no. Captain Strack. Captain Strack, the Vulcan. Okay.
So we started with the captain's log, and then I assume that we start either on the bridge or the ready room with the captain explaining to the crew. Probably the easy thing to say would be to start in on the bridge with the captain just saying set course for
Beta Inari 7.
Which, because we don't need to roll for that, just happens.
So I'm going to guess that Lieutenant Commander Guitari is more often than not on the bridge. He sticks in engineering as much as possible, not because he's antisocial, although maybe he's slightly antisocial in terms of like bridge operations, but he wants to be down there overseeing his crew. So when this when this notice comes through that we're going to go to, I suppose, maximum warp to get to this planet, he immediately triggers his organizational process by which he has a team set to monitor the engines to make sure that they can operate at maximum speed for a prolonged period of time. You're in charge of like the personnel level security, which would mean, I would think, away teams big time. How about we close the scene and we go to a ready room briefing with the captain and some of the other command staff as we're about to arrive on station, and we have maybe like we're an hour out, 2 hours out, and we have more maybe we have more information because of sensor readings. Sensor readings of like the space. Maybe we've gotten more information. Maybe we're able to scan the planet a little bit.
So I think every scene, and this is where I have to keep jumping back, because like kind of the stuff that tells you what to do inside the scenes is sort of where I am, which is page 238 with the core game loop. But then the stuff about the mission tracker and progressing through the scene is back on page 186.
And it's also on the third page of the character sheet.
All right, well, let's just stick to the thing of every scene having something in it if it's relevant. So since your character, can't remember the name,
Lieutenant Commander Guitari.
I haven't got your character written down on that. Yeah. Anyway, so our chief engineer is bossing around the people to make sure the ship is capable of traveling at full warp for a relative amount of time. I think the task is to just organize the rest of the engineering department.
Okay. And that could be one of those like montage sort of scenes, as there's a sense of like, oh my gosh, we're jumping into action to help our fellow Starfleet folks, and so let's get this right.
The standard is difficult. Oh, it lit because we don't have. Of course, we're still thinking classic 2D20 where you can go up to 5 dice.
Yeah,
there is no 5 dice. It's only ever 2 dice. Yes, it's always 1, unless there is a difficulty, unless you think it's increased difficulty. So difficulty 1. Okay, so difficulty 1 roll, and I assume you are using. Well, to me, I feel like it's either presence and engineering or presence and command.
Yeah, I would say actually presence and engineering, because this is something that Guitari would have planned and would have rehearsed, and so it's, make it happen. Right.
Well, let's roll then. Well, you're rolling because it's your character. I'm not rolling for your character.
You need to use your dice.
All right, I will use my engineering dice.
I'm going to trust you with dice rolls.
Oh, I don't know what your character stats are. So,
I do.
We'll tell presence plus engineering.
What am I looking at?
13.
Yeah.
And do you have a relevant? We don't have.
And I do have a focus of power systems. And I did say before I even looked at my character sheet that's what we're talking about. Make sure the engines keep running.
Okay. Well, I got a 6 and a 7, so that's 2 successes. But that is, none of them are double successes. So that is definitely 2 successes. Yeah, I found the momentum rules. I found a bit right. So success. If you roll equal to or under the target number on 1 or more D20, have it both roll under, you not only see big, also gain momentum. So we now have momentum.
Right. Which then means,
if we were a fancy YouTube channel, we'd have a little momentum thing.
No, we don't do that. We're old school. What does that mean for us?
We can use it for a reroll, adding an advantage or a new story element, or you can use momentum generator to eliminate threat.
Okay. How long does the momentum last, or is it something that we have until we spend it? It doesn't expire.
You can store momentum as you move from one and forever until we use it.
So currently we have momentum. Great.
We have momentum. So
you may thank your chief engineer for that momentum.
Yeah, so the engineers ran around doing their stuff. The ship did not explode when it went to full warp.
Nope.
And so then that was our starting scene. And at the end of a starting scene, here we go. So this is the end of Plane 3 Acts, page 189. If you feel you have succeeded at a scene, fill in the delta symbol completely.
Oh, yeah. And all those drills that other officers and other people would complain about and say were tedious and tiring, clearly now we understand why we do that, because when time is of the essence, you don't have time to screw around.
All right, scene 2, we are in the ready room. All of the important people, including us, because we're important, are in the ready room. The captain has explained the mission, and I think I am concerned that we have very, very little information about A, the planet,
right,
and B, the explorers. And although all we know is that their equipment failed, and it sounded like there was something bad. So I think we need to sort out before we go ahead, because we're getting there, we're on the way.
Yep.
I think we need to have more information. So either that should be, we need to get like someone to do a long range scan, or we need to do something with that audio to get a better read on maybe what it was.
I think that we should cash in the momentum and establish an advantage, because we have spent time in the last, you know what, you can, on page 315 of the book, there is a time interval. Go ahead and roll.
I want to roll 1d20.
Just a d20.
Because you have the book, so
I have a book quicker. Right open.
You can flick through it so much quicker now. 17.
Well, that's crap, because that's 6 months. It did not take us 6 months to get to Beta Inari 7.
Let's ignore that.
You know what? Maybe the operations. How's this? 6 months. There have been Starfleet exploration operations in this area, maybe in this sector, for at least the last 6 months. So there is information. There is more detailed sensor information and scans. And in our trip to get there, why don't you go ahead and, I don't know, let's say it's taken us like 2 days. During that 2-day trip to get to we're about an hour or two away from the system, that we have been able to get some good sensor scans. We also have high resolution sensors, our ship does, but maybe we also got a package of information from our headquarters, whatever ship that we report to has given us some information. So we have some more information. So how are advantages adjudicated? Or we just say this good thing happens to us because we cashed in our momentum for an advantage?
Yeah, I've just gone and looked at the advantage table, and that just tells us a bunch of different things advantage could be, but it doesn't tell me what advantage.
So I think we can just let's just treat it as such. I mean, we have some more clear sensor information. Commander Krull was concerned about that, and so the ops officer and the engineer and other science officer got together and said, let's prioritize sensors.
I think because we have the advantage, we'll just say that this seed is, except we find the information, we get more information on the planet, we'll pass off our momentum here, we won't roll, we'll just take it as a successful scene. That we know that the planet has been, the information we've got back says that there are kind of the stuff we already had written down, that there are big, scary, enormous predators on this planet, which are going to cause a lot of trouble.
Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense. So we get that information that this was something that was maybe learned by the survey party that was down there that's now lost.
The planet looks like it was inhabited a very, very long time ago. Not inhabited. People have visited this planet a very long time ago, like before us have explored, alien explorers a very, very long time ago. But for at least hundreds of years, it's just like a planet full of alien life forms, which are mostly, like beasts, essentially.
Megafauna.
Big predators.
So we're actually dealing with two different, call them like categories or classes of life forms. We're dealing with the aliens that showed up here, potentially, and we're also dealing with megafauna.
So I think scene 3, the ship arrives, the USS Tracy arrives at the planet.
Yeah, Beta Inari 7.
First thing we got to do is work out where. Oh, it is a simple question. Is the Explorer's ship in orbit? So I feel like they're maybe on a smaller ship, in which case they've landed.
Right.
So we're going to use the probability matrix. I think it is improbable.
I think it's highly improbable.
All right, highly improbable that their ship is in orbit. So I'm going to roll a d20, and I get a 14. So no, their ship is not in orbit. This just shuttles.
Right. Okay. So it's a shuttle, and maybe it was a shuttle that was dispatched from a ship that would like maybe dropped a couple of shuttles in different systems and then headed off somewhere else.
We need to find it. So this we realize the ship has stats, so we can have the ship roll a scanning type roll to try and find it. So, or sensors, that was an easy one. And
so let me make sure, because I'm not looking at that page in the rules. Normally in Star Trek Adventures, the ship assists the player rolling. In this, are we just having the ship roll?
I'm jumping ahead to 540. Your shipping. When you issue an order to one of the vessel's various departments, your section, blah, 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 blah. You can also command your bridge crew to undertake several actions. To do so, select your ship's relevant system and a department, and you roll on them. The sum of both values is a target number. So yes. So when your ship is doing something and you are not, you roll on the ship rolls.
Okay, great. So I have the ship in front of us. This is going to be.
If you look, it's got both stats.
Yeah, this is sensors and science.
And science. Okay, that was the second one.
That would be 12.
Okay. I got an 8 and a 12. So we have momentum again. All right. So thing is, we were rolling to try and find something. So I assume we were rolling to try and find the ship. So we've definitely found the ship. But we should have momentum. So I think we have detected the scientists. Here's the thing. Are the scientists still alive?
Yeah.
Well, if they're not alive, we've not got a lot to do. So we're going to go highly probable?
Well, we still have to, if they're dead as disco, we still have to find out what happened to them. We're not just going to be like, they're dead, let's head off.
We'll stick to highly probable.
Wait.
50, right. So they are still alive.
Okay. So we pinpoint the location of the shuttle.
I was going to ask one more question.
Go ahead.
Are the life signs near the ship? I think.
I think it's improbable also. And the reason why is because unless the ship is messed up, is damaged in some way, shape, or form, which it could be. You know what? I'll ask a question after you roll that. I think it's unlikely. Okay. I don't know if it's highly unlikely. But
okay, we'll go improbable then. Improbable. So 18 is a no. They are not near the ship.
Okay.
So the life signs so we have tracked some crew.
Yeah.
The explorers. So we've tracked the explorers, but they are not near the ship.
Right. I think that the ship. Now we detected the ship. Does that mean we detected the ship intact, or we just detected like the pieces and parts of it?
I assume we can say that. I assume the ship is not
intact.
It is not intact. So we're going probably damaged, or we'll go probably damaged, because this is the deal. I think it's improbably not damaged. Right, we're going to do a double negative. It's probably damaged.
It's probably damaged.
Yes, it is probably damaged.
Okay.
All right. So that's this thing. We've found the. Well, last question. Can we beam? This should be a separate scene trying to beam down to the people. But I feel like for some reason, there must be some reason why I can't easily get straight to the people, because we'd just be able to beam them up.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to roll. I'm just assuming that there is some kind of, because there's so many life signs. Although we've pimpanted Star Trek life signs, we can't beam them out.
We haven't talked at all about this, the aliens. Now, is there any way that we can accept preemptively a complicating factor in trade for something? Because we could say, hey, forget about rolling on the matrix order. I think there's obviously something that prevents us from just locking on to those life forms, those Starfleet life form, and beaming them up.
Yeah, I feel like if we give up, because complications are meant to come from threat. So I feel like if we give ourselves a complication, I feel like we should get an advantage. So if we're going to give ourselves a complication now, we should gain momentum by having given ourselves a complication.
So we're going to say we have 2 momentum.
It says that.
Okay, screw it.
We can't have multiple momentum. I know when we spent... Well, we found everything we wanted on the ship. Technically you can't have multiple momentum. So...
Does it explicitly say that?
Well, it says you either have momentum or you do
not. Okay. It's like advantage in 5e. Okay, gotcha. Yes. All right.
So we have momentum. So technically, the fact that we're creating ourselves complication. I mean, arguably what we've done is created a story element, which is a negative story element. So we've used our momentum to create ourselves a story element that we cannot beam the people straight off.
Why not?
Star Trek science reasons.
I think it's less an issue of like we can't use the transporters, that there's something about the planet that prevents us from locking onto them. So it's not like we can't beam. Like we could beam down to the planet.
We can't lock onto them. Yeah.
Can't lock onto
them. We can detect the life signs, but we can't lock onto them.
Maybe the same thing that's preventing us from locking onto them also prevents us from getting like hyper detailed.
It's because there's geodesic radiation.
Is that what you rolled?
Yes. On my random radiation table.
Geodesic? Okay. I'm rolling with it. You rolled it. I'm going with it. Okay. That's cool. So we're going to have to take a shuttle down.
Yes, we're going to have to take a shuttle.
And I think that's where this scene ends. I think the captain...
geodesic radiation.
Captain Strack looks at Commander... What's the Tellarite's name?
Glizbav Tofosh.
All right, so it's Commander Tofosh. So Strack looks at him and nods, and the XO goes ahead and hits a button and tells you to prepare your away team. I think right, that's
so we're going to do a montage. I am going to roll on the ship because does the rest of the security people, as well as picking who it is. Actually, no, I'm going to roll the command thing to have I picked the right people for my team, and have I prepared them properly.
And the question is, wait, before you roll, are you bringing Commander Guitari with you?
Yes, because that would suck. Because of the geodesic radiation, we may need an engineer to engineer a solution to being able to get back out, and also fix the broken shuttle, because our little shuttle might not have space.
Okay. So I'm going to go. You go ahead and roll and make sure that
you don't trust anyone else in your whole engineering team for this mission. Just you.
I just don't have any other NPCs made.
I can't remember what your character's name is, so I'm just writing.
Guitari, Gotari.
Should we have someone else with us? We need cannon fodder.
I think he would bring an engineering assistant. Like he would bring someone who is, some lieutenant junior grade whose expertise is in small craft. So he brings the team leader for like small craft. The person, the lieutenant who's in charge, or not even lieutenant necessarily. He brings like a chief. That's what you really want. You want the chief.
Oh, okay, chief. Yeah, okay. Chief needs a name. And I can't bother to roll for a race, so they're going to just be human.
Finally.
And they're going to be male. Right, we've had an
Barber.
Irish chief. Let's go.
Barber.
What?
Barber. Chief Barber. 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 Chief Barber.
All right, Chief Barber, human male. And I think we need another secure. We probably need a scientist as well. We will have a lieutenant junior grade. Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, I can do field medic. So we don't need a medic. We need a scientist. Lieutenant, junior grade. I'm just going to go Johnson. Really simple. Human female. That's a science officer. Science. That's an engineer. And I want a security person because it could well be dangerous.
Could go sideways. Andorian.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. And this is probably just a crewman.
Crewman. I have no idea what Andorian names are like. But he's probably going to die anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Speck. Yeah. SCHPEGH. Speck.
CHP. What?
I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it alien. Anyway, so crewman Speck. He's an experienced security officer, or security trooper.
That's it. So I'm going to roll for my. I'm going to roll my presence, unfortunately. So presence security to prepare the away team. So I'm on 14.
All right.
Oh, and do I have a relevant thing? Oh, I roll a 9 and 12, so we're fine. We have more momentum. We have all the momentum. Chief Barber's going to have to fly it. Well, you said he was a
small craft.
Small craft expert.
And I've got a 2 in con anyway, so I can sit next to him.
Is it a safe flight down? I think the flight down's fine. I think we should end the scene with the camp. So that should be the last scene. So I don't really, but we need to, so hopefully we can avoid this. So I think it's highly probable that the flight down is going to be fine. 15 is. So this is not something we have to roll about. So we are flying down, we fly down and we land We land near the crashed ship. So we get out. The crashed ship looks like it has been properly just smashed up by something big, like it's been clawed to pieces and trampled on, and the contents are strewn everywhere, and it's like properly wrecked.
Yeah, I agree.
So the important thing is, can we pick up a trail? Ideally of the people, not other giant things.
So wait, that scene end. If this were on the idiot box, the scene would end as we like bank into the area, you know, looking all cool and flying Hollywood. We bank into the area. The scene ends as we are going, oh snap, and looking at this. I mean, the shuttlecraft looks like it got stomped on and torn apart. So it's more like a smudge of metal pieces and parts. It didn't crash. That's when the scene ends.
But then we have a scene that didn't have a roll, so we can't judge it.
You just rolled though. No,
I rolled to see if I didn't like a task roll. I rolled to just see was the flight down okay. In which case, the flight down is like a non-scene.
Wait, no, but didn't you roll though? Didn't you roll did you roll to see how well your team composition turned out?
That was scene 4, and I did, yes. We have 5 scenes so far. We had the engineer's room, the ready room, the scanning, the montage of getting ready.
Oh, see, I didn't think the scanning was a scene. I thought the scanning was like that was information that was brought into the briefing. Like,
well, that was when we decided not to roll because it was we decided not to roll. Technically, it was a scene. We said it was successful. We used our momentum to fudge that scene and pass it.
Right. See, I thought at this point, okay.
I think you need like sub scenes, which are scenes that are scenes, but not scenes in terms of the mission tracker scenes.
Or I mean, see, because that's how I was envisioning or conceptualizing that censored. It was just censored data. It was a package of information that fed into the scene, not a scene in and of itself.
Yeah, we can do that. In which case, that was scene 1A.
Yeah.
And we've just, so scene 1A. So scene 2, we rolled. Scene 3, we rolled. So that was scene 3A, it was landing because it didn't have a thing. So this is scene 4. So scene 4, then we're on the ground. We've looked at the camp. Camp is trashed.
Yes.
Spec says, this looks bad, Chief. And I say, yes, Chief. I know, yes, crewman, it does look bad. Chief Barber looks at the ship and probably says, can he fix it? Because he's suddenly Scottish.
Of course.
And I'm going to see if I can find tracks. Now, I do have survival, and I think this is a survival thing to follow tracks. So that does give me a focus.
I agree. And I'm going to be doing something too, but you go ahead and
I'm going to go insight. So I've got insight. So what discipline would I use?
Security.
Okay. In which case,
that's like your ruggedized sort of.
I'm rolling on a 15 then with a 5 focus. I got 3 and 4. So I technically, in normal 2d20, rolled 4 successes, which would be 3 momentum.
Killer. But we have our status of momentum now.
Tracks. Yeah.
And
so I picked up the tracks. That's scene. What did you want to do in scene 4?
While you're doing that, Guitari and Barber are going to scan the wreckage to see if there's any kind of indication, like, was this an energy blast? Was this is there a toenail stuck in it or something like that?
I don't think you need. Oh, okay, yeah. If you're going to find because we know obviously it looks like a creature. It's obviously a creature.
Yeah, we're trying to get some sense of how this was done.
I mean, you can make a roll. Go on, make a roll.
Where?
Oh, I've got to make a roll for it. Oh no, I've been rolling my security dice. Oh, a minute. We're all yellow. We're both yellow. Yes, everything I roll is yellow because we're pre-check.
We're good.
So what do we have? Insight? This is a looking thing, so it's insight. Then isn't it? Insight and engineering. What's your stat? I don't know what your stat is.
Insight and that's 14.
14.
And hold on. I have I don't have a relevant focus.
It wouldn't matter. Well, there's 7 and a 12. So
okay.
You successfully determined that it was a big ass creature, probably reptilian, that has smashed the thing to bit because you found traces of creature reptilian bits. DNA.
Yeah. Now, here's something that I'd like to do that I'm going to just by fiat say we can do. You established the status of advantage for us because of your role, but so did I. So I'm going to cash in my advantage right away, or my momentum right away, and say that we still have the other one.
Okay. What do you want your advantage to be?
So the advantage I'm going to convert my momentum into is that this is not one creature.
Yeah.
It's that there is probably something large that smashed the crap out of this thing, but I'm also getting DNA and trace evidence of something or some things else. Like there was maybe a single large creature that smashed this thing to bits, but that there were numerous other smaller creatures that also played a role in this.
I'm just picturing Jurassic Park 3 where a Spinosaurus and a T-Rex fight over the carcass of a crashed ship.
I'm actually kind of picturing, I'm picturing xenomorphs and a brontosaurus or a brachiosaurus operating independently of one another.
I forgot about the xenomorphs. All right, so scene 5. We're going to go and try and find the people, right? So we're going to trek through the jungle. There's no point.
That's something we haven't established. What's the planet like? What does it look like? What's the landform? What's the biome? Whatever. What is it like?
It's like probably got weird colors because we know there's radiation in the atmosphere. So we've got like a pinky purple sky, swirling patterns, Flash Gordon style. And lots of giant ass plants and lots of noise, like tons and tons of noise of creatures. So like Avatar.
Okay. Right.
So we can hear a lot, but we're not seeing a lot of stuff. But there's a lot of moving plants. We haven't seen any animals, but we can hear tons of stuff. So there is tons of stuff around us.
So we're dealing with like lush, short field of view.
Yeah.
Like a jungle.
Yes.
Okay. I'm on board with that. I dig that.
Is Barber going to stay behind with our ship? Chief Barber, is he going to stay at our ship?
Yeah.
That seems like a good idea. All right.
Yeah.
So Barber is staying behind.
Okay. All right. So Barber's going to be there, and we're going to tell him to leave the engine on and scan constantly. So whatever smashed the other one to bits, hopefully doesn't show up and smash him to bits.
So we start, because this is going to be the end of Act 1. This is the other reason I wanted to take 2 crew with us.
Perfect.
I think as we start tracking through the jungle, Krull, and Svek, whatever his name is, have blaster rifles. And I think you and...
They have phaser rifles.
Phaser rifles, sorry. Phaser rifles. And I feel like you and Johnson only have phasers.
Yeah.
But then you also have tricorders.
Yeah, I have a tricorder, and
we don't know what they look like because we're in the lost time period.
Right. No, you know what? Phaser 2. This is Phaser 2 with the little pistol. That's what it looks like. Looks like a little kind of like a space Luger.
And we've got armor on because we're not idiots. Because apparently, back in Strange New Worlds, they had armor, but by the time they got to Next Generation, armor was stupid. We don't need armor. We can fight the Borg without armor.
Yeah.
We're not idiots.
No, we're not idiots. So so we are, all 4 of us are in security armor, which Guitari is not particularly happy about because it's not particularly comfortable. He doesn't wear it often, but we're moving. Is it hot?
I feel like it's hot.
Okay.
I'm not going to roll. Let's just roll. Let's roll. I think it's probably hot.
Okay.
It is hot.
It's hot. It's hot, and it's humid. Let's not roll for humid, because if there's lush foliage, it's going to be it's more than likely going to be humid. So it's humid, it's hot.
So one thing we start seeing insects, like the big ass insects, like like dragonflies, the size of a dog. And then I feel like what should happen in scene 4, which is probably going to fail, is that we are ambushed by something.
Now, is this the end of the first act?
This would be the end of the first act.
Okay, I like that. I think because we have learned.
Roll for it then.
Okay, we. So, is there something in there we can roll, like, as to what we're attacked?
Well, I could roll
by,
for the probability of there being an ambush, but I think if we just decide there is an ambush,
that we're being attacked.
Not need to roll. The only thing we could roll is what is ambushing us, because we've got. So essentially, what we're rolling is it a big thing or is it the small things?
Yes. Is it? Yeah, I like it.
Well, let's go. Big is even, and odd is small things. I rolled even, so it's a big thing.
Okay, this big thing is attacking us. The question is, how soon before we know it's coming? Because the conventional thought is, okay, big thing is going to make noise. Big thing.
Shall I roll on the timing?
Wait, big thing is it'll be like 6 months again. Although, you know what, with that, you could just say, you're only going to accept rolls 1 through 10. And if it's above 10, you're going to subtract 10, and then it gives you a more reasonable short time period.
I could do that. Okay. Oh, well, 4 is 5 minutes. So we hear something big coming and we start running for it.
You tell me what you think about this. I think that we've been following the trail. And the reason why we decided to follow the trail instead of just being smart and saying, screw it, let's just fly the Eagles to Mordor, let's just take the shuttle and fly, is that there are a lot of
we're literally following tracks on the floor.
We're following tracks, but also this is a dense jungle with like uneven topography, lots of little canyons and draws and things like that. And so flying over above the canopy, you have no idea what the terrain is actually like. So we need to walk, unfortunately. So we're walking for a while. We're far enough away from the shuttle that we can't just get back to it easily. We hear this sound and we go, ooh, crap.
Well, we need to keep following the trail.
But yeah, we have Starfleet folks we need to find. So we need to we pick up the pace, and then we are ambushed. I kind of think that this giant thing, predator or not, whatever is going to trouble us, even though it's really big, it's actually surprisingly stealthy. I don't know.
Maybe when it gets close, we hear something, but then we stop hearing it.
Okay.
So we've carried on following the tracks. So if it's stealthy, is it just going to attack us? So this seems light, so we don't need to roll. So it's just going to come out of nowhere. The thing would be, who is it going to go for? It's going to go for one of the other two. We have momentum.
How about this though? Is this and this is very meta, but obviously much of this is very meta. Is this thing like is it a predator? Or like it hears us and it's coming to get us? Or is it a life form that is, maybe it's protecting terrain, so it's not necessarily a predator, but it's territorial? Or maybe it's just some like big dumb lumbering thing that's dangerous to us because its feet can squish us, but it's not actually, like, maybe, a brachiosaur would not be
roll. So
you get it.
Is it targeting us? It's somewhat probable it's targeting us. It is.
Okay, so it is targeting us.
Is it just territorial? Again, that seems probable. It makes sense for an animal. It is not territorial, so it's picked up our scent and it is following us. In which case, it isn't territorial. It's trying to kill us.
This is a big nasty Wolverine.
Yeah. So it's if this is the same. Is it the same thing that destroyed the ship? That would be 50-50. It is, in which case we said it was reptilian, so it's going to be a big reptilian, but like wolf thing. So it's like a
T-Rex meets a brachiosaur. It's just a giant monster lizard.
Yeah, it's a big ass lizard with big teeth, and we'll go with 4 legs though. So if it's it can still have 4 legs, and it smashes through and tries to get one of us. Well, we basically just need to avoid getting wrecked. So if we do successful rolls, then we're okay.
I think that we should cash in the momentum, because Commander Krull is an expert, like small unit tactics and ground operations.
So we can cash in the momentum after the roll for a re-roll.
There, okay, never mind.
If we need it. I'm gonna say this is difficult because this thing's nasty and it's gonna wreck us.
Well, we're in its terrain. We are in this rough jungle terrain. We're a little bit hemmed in because maybe that radiation that's mucking about with it's not interfering with the transporters. It's interfering with the sensors that enable us to lock. So that would probably stand to reason that our tricorders aren't working great.
So I'm going to try and fight off this creature from basically the rest of the party.
So the thing just smashes through, like maybe we're in something of a clearing or whatever, and it just smashes through, knocks aside some giant like blue-green tree, and
put myself in front of the rest of the crew and shoot off the phaser blasts at it. Now my initial roll would actually have failed. I only rolled 1 success, but we are cashing in the momentum to re-roll. I got an 18, so I'm re-rolling the 18.
Why would you need to? You said your initial roll failed.
I said that we thought this was difficult, so it needed 2 successes.
Oh, okay, cool. Forgot
that. This time, however, I got a 10 and a 4, and my security is 5, so that would actually give us momentum. So I successfully fight off the thing. I'm going to use my momentum though, just to add a story thing in, which is not a good thing. I'm just doing it because I want to.
Go for it.
I want the other guy to have been injured. Oh, or the scientist.
Yeah,
pick one.
The scientist.
All right, so the scientist has.
That's is that Lieutenant Johnson or whatever?
Yes.
No,
I can't remember if she was a junior grade or not, but
whatever.
Lieutenant Junior Grade Johnson, and I just knocked the dice, having rolled it. So 5. So she has a dislocated right arm. Well, that's not bad. We'll just pop that straight back in. But that'll be in the next scene.
Yeah. So
that'll be in Act 2.
So as this scene comes to an end, we see this thing smash through the foliage. She has to dive out of the way, or maybe she's knocked out of the way and she's injured in the process. Krull blasts away at it with his phaser rifle, injuring it and momentarily sending it packing.
Cut to commercial.
And then we're standing there. You know what we're doing actually is we're going, where's Johnson? Because all this foliage fell down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's where Act 1 ends.
Advert break. And there we go. So we will pick this up next time.
Wow. Okay, now that's flowing. You know what? Your point about keep asking questions was something that didn't click in my head. And
that's the main thing I picked up from other solo role-playing games. Essentially, it's like, this is why. So the idea of doing it solo, I think, is really weird. I think with 2 of you, it's much easier because it becomes a conversation with 2 of you. Thinking, right, what do we think is the most likely thing, or what's the most interesting thing that would happen? And when you genuinely have no idea, that's when you use the tables to go, well, let's see let's roll for a thing that happens, or what do we think the chance of such and such happening? But when you don't want to roll, you just go, I think it should be, because you're telling a story essentially. Solo role playing is really telling a story that you're making up as you go along. So, and we're just doing that cooperatively.
Yeah,
there we go.
All right,
that's gone quite well.
I'm digging that. Actually, and remember we talked with Jim, and we talked in our review about how we could see this as a way to get the juices flowing to build a campaign with players, for players, or flesh out a campaign with players by creating like other things. I mean, you could lift this as a GM and say, hey, our campaign is all about, we're part of a 5-ship task force that's engaged in like deep space exploration in some area that's way far flung. And you just rolled this and said, here's some other things that are going on with other ships in that task force, just to give it more life.
Cool.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. You can visit our show's homepage at anchor.fm/fluffncrunch. That's FLUFFNCRUNCH. We would really appreciate feedback and reviews on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to this on. Thanks so much.